Hello, traders, and happy Friday. It is 8:01 a.m. Chicago time on the 19th of June, 2020. It is Quad Witching Friday today. This is episode number 1780. 1780. Derivatives trading is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. This morning, the overall sentiment, the overall stance, the overall stance of the market is risk on again. We're opening in a gap yet again, and it's a runner. It looks like, but the big thing to remember about today is it is Quad Witching Friday. Coming into today, you've got to be careful. A lot of products will expire in the next 28 minutes. But we still have those who have to deliver, still hedging their position with futures throughout the session. Some products will expire on the close, depending on what they are. So it is Quad Witching Friday, not the greatest day to be trading, normally a fair amount of noise and so on. So be careful today. The overall stance this morning is crude has taken off. Crude has traded above 40, is trading above $40. August crude, that is, up 98 cents or 2.51%. The Russell is the leader this morning, up 26.4 points or 1.86%. The Euro stocks are next, up 1.5%. The Dow Jones up 346 points, and the S&P is up 36 points. Pretty meaningful numbers there. A solid allocation to risk. Wall Street futures edged higher on hopes of a swift economic rebound supported by policy stimulus and improving economic data. That's such a fluff explanation of what's going on here. European shares gained ahead of European Council's meeting to negotiate the EU Recovery Fund, which they just came out and said that they did not have consensus on how the Eurozone is likely to move forward. At 7:13 Central, 8:13 Eastern, about an hour ago, European Council spokesman says the EU leaders end summit without consensus on recovery plans. So that's that. And there are many comments from various officials, Swedish, Danish, and so on. So that's where we stand this morning. It is what it is. The calendar, other than expiration, shows some numbers out of Great Britain, PPI out of Germany, and we got the current account, which came in at 104.2 billion draw. That's your deficit for Q1, 104.2 billion. Yowzers. 106 billion expected, so it's slightly better, kind of like your kid comes in with a D and says, "Hey, Dad, it's not an F," type of thing. At 10:15, Fed's Rosengren speaks. At 12 Eastern, Fed's Quarles. At 1 Eastern, Fed's Chair Powell. And also at 1 Eastern, we have Fed's Mester all speaking today. So that's where we stand this morning. Let's hop right in and look at what was expected for yesterday. Yesterday, I went through quite a bit. It was a long trader bite, but it was setting us up for a relatively active session, in my opinion. And the key play of yesterday is we are likely to push into, I was looking for the 94 to 98 area for failure, and I was looking for it to fall back through and trade to the other side of this box. And that's the key. That was the key plan for yesterday. The alternative is we fall off, push into and through the 64.5 overnight low, and then rotate back up and push towards the prior day's range. And in that case, the point of control was the target there, 3116-ish or so. Yesterday's overnight high was 31.20 and 30.64. And what is amazing is we've had, I think, if I recall correctly, we've had 3 days this week where the overnight high and the overnight low, or the overnight stat was not fulfilled overnight. Incredibly unusual. I went through 2,500 days of data, and we have not had a sequence. We have not had a sequence like that in 2,500 days, which is about 10 years. So very, very odd. The movements are taking place overnight, and a lot of the action is kind of sapped out of the market before the U.S. session kicks in. It kind of reminds me of early last year. So that's where we stand this morning. We did. Let me switch to the trigger actually, just to show you the action. We did have a nice open auction. The market put in a pretty clear early low, pretty clear early high, and it looked like it was failing down as it broke the opening swing, and it was looking like it was heading lower. Let me remove these stock zone levels because they're today's. But instead, it turns around and puts in this strong rotation up and sets us up to look for longs into the 98 area. But the top of this impulse was 94. Remember, we're looking for 94, 98 for a reaction, and it ends up pushing to 101 and a half before it rotates back down. And it was, frankly, for me, it was very hard to read. The rotations down seemed. I mean, you look at this rotation here, you can see the rotations down expanding, which kind of gives me a clue that hey, we have pushed, we have broken through, we have a lower high, and we have a rotation down. I'm looking for shorts for the IB low to be broken and for scenario one to be back in play. Not so, my friend. It reverses that big rotation down, or reverses it with a big rotation up, and then it just starts to whip around with the low of the prior day kind of holding the action up. Yesterday was definitely not fun to trade. We ended up with a normal profile, valid value area. The value area is 3105. 3105 down to 3094.50 or 94 quarter. Let me double check that, make sure I'm giving you the right numbers. Value low 94.50, 3105. Value low 94.50, 98 is the point of control. But this morning we are opening a lot higher. So we are opening way up there at 31.34, right up here. So I don't know that we get to test the value area, and there's quite a bit here in terms of the master levels. The overnight high is the mid of the gap from 6.5. Again, the overnight point of control is near overnight highs, and we are trading in that region. It looks to me like it is likely to facilitate higher. And as I said earlier in the week, we were expecting 3160 at some point in this week's trading, and maybe that's today. It failed to do so multiple times earlier in the week. So we're above 3100 again. We closed just below it yesterday, and we're in a gap situation, another gap that we have to contend with. And again, gaps tell us that. Gaps simply explain that an area is on auction. So the last time we were up here, we went 31.42.75. Got to keep an eye on that. We are 5 points away on the overnight high, and we are really squeezing that overnight high higher. One of the things I wanted to point out is we had this high of 42.75, then we had a lower high, and then given yesterday basically started the one-time framing down, and so had it not taken out the 3109, then we are likely to visit much lower, 30, 20, and those areas down there. But that is not what the market has in mind. It is popping up higher again, and it ends the one-time framing down that we were in over yesterday and the day before. And so this is a breakout from a downtrending channel. This is likely to continue to have fuel, and it is likely to target the 3169 and start moving through 3180 and so on and so forth. So the gap may get filled here properly, and we'll be done with it. This gap's been around for 2 weeks so far. So that's the overall picture. I mean, even the delta yesterday was showing us that um, uh, even though price finished higher than the open, the delta wasn't there. There was not much lifting. Sincerely, my expectation is we would reopen and we would explore down into the composite low volume node and continue to fill in this area below 3068, 3064, and so on and so forth. It just wasn't able to do that this morning, okay? I'm not very enthusiastic about today for one reason, and that is it is just quad witching. This is not a day. This is not a day that entices me to want to trade, and so that's where I'm coming from. This is a day to kind of chill, and the moves may be a little bit erratic as they have been for this entire week, which is expected for expiration week. Here's what CT Bookmap shows, the overall picture in the order flow. Let's switch to that. So we open here in Chicago at 5 p.m. We push higher immediately, push lower below the open. We find our bottom, and then we trade a fair amount in this range. You can see we built a nice, we built a nice balance there. And then when the Europeans came in, those Europeans, right here in the Treasury Open, immediately go into a buy mode, and it seems like the liquidity in the book is actually being respected at this point, which is nice to see. So to me, it appears to be back to normal. The delta is back to normal, but we still have a lot of we still have expiration in front of us, quad witching in front of us, and I believe there are many options that are way, way, way outside, and there's a lot of pain today for many people. So we're likely to see some erratic movement. Remember, futures are a hedge instrument traditionally, and interaction in the futures is quite high on a day like today. Okay, it's a good day to go fishing, in my opinion. To be honest with you, I would never discourage anyone from um, um, being in front of the markets as I'm a market addict, but today's one of those days where it's just like it's just wiser to go spend the time doing something else. We have a lot of liquidity here in the 3140. It's been sitting here all night long, and you can see the liquidity has been trading out. And there's a fair amount that starts at 37 and goes through to 3141. And some liquidity is coming into the 50-55 area. This is all part of the gap zone, and that's how things are shaping up. I'm not seeing much stable or long-term liquidity below. I'm expecting the market to continue to squeeze up. That's the main expectation for today. To wrap the review up, uh, here's the overnight session. The overnight session is simply telling us that there was a very orderly and pretty active exploration higher. It's moved from lower bounds to middle bounds to upper bounds with a point of control right at the high on a very, very weak high. We've had hit that 3750 multiple times. I expect us to explode right through and push the high that we put in at 42.75, and then we have an overnight high to 31.56 and a quarter above there as we head into that 31.60 area and we start to fill the gap zone above. So my overall bias, the overnight inventory is really mainly long, with delta being positive along with price. There may be a little bit of a pullback in that case. In the case of a pullback, it might push as far down as 31.24 or so, but I'm expecting it to squeeze higher on the open. That's what I'm expecting for today. So with that being said, let's move on to what our plans are. Our main trade ideas for today are. So let's coordinate this. Turn on the stock zone levels, and here we go. Very cool. Oh, by the way, it is like Friday. I have not brought that up the last few times. I don't like the graphic that I've created years and years ago, so I don't like to put it up. We'll create a new one, something a little more modern. But it is like Friday. Every Friday, we talk about. I asked you to take the time to hit the like button for the broadcast. It helps folks find us on YouTube. I would appreciate it if it takes one click from you. Find the like button on YouTube and hit it. I'd appreciate it. You'll probably see one or two down votes or whatever, but those are just I know who those people are, and they'll do what they do. It's okay. We when we're running our race, we're always running forward. We're not looking back. So that's where we stand on that. So what are we looking for this morning? I'm looking for a quick squeeze of the overnight high, um, a pullback to the overnight point of control, but I'm not expecting it to push much lower than 31.30-ish, this stock zone. But overall, I'm looking for it to start squeezing into this 31.60 area. That's where we stand. As a primary scenario for today. I'm looking for a squeeze higher. The thing that can disturb this the most is quad witching Friday. It's really hard to say what's expected here. I think a lot of it's behind us. The roll is behind us. We can rely on a delta now, in my opinion, but overall, I'm expecting the market to continue to squeeze shorts into the afternoon, and so that's what I'm expecting. The secondary scenario is a quick push to the high, take out 42.75, and then find seller interest in the gap to bring us back down into 31.30. And in that case, I'm expecting it to fall back through and bring us back to 31.15. The MC point of control here is 31.02. I do not expect it that far down. I do expect a relatively quiet afternoon this Friday. I will not be trading past around, I won't be here past maybe the first hour or so. It just isn't worth my time to watch the markets on quad witching Friday past the opening trade. So we'll see how it all plays out. Uh, so we'll see what happens. Okay. That's all I have for you. Good luck today. And as always, please pay us a visit at edgeclear.com. It's a brokerage I launched and I fully own. Launched in April. We've been doing fantastic, and we have a great team of brokers. And this is a brokerage that is built for traders, for online individual traders, by traders. The brokers are traders as well, and you will be assigned personal a personal broker as opposed to being passed around to a different person every time who doesn't know who you are, how you trade, or anything like that. Take a moment, reach out to edgeclear.com, hit the chat widget, or go to edgeclear.com/contact and drop us a note. We'd love to have you support us because we have big plans for what we want to provide to traders to kind of to revolutionize or disrupt how traders learn to trade futures or improve on their trading. Good luck, and I'll talk to you on Monday morning. Take care.